So Cursor, one of the hottest AI coding companies right now, was paying $56,000 a year for a content management system. Then one of their team members deleted the whole thing over a weekend, spent 260 in AI tokens, and now their entire company moves faster. Here's why that matters for you. Look, I've been thinking a lot about why AI agent hit walls, and the answer isn't what most people expect. It is not that the models aren't smart enough. The models are incredible. The problem is how most of us work. Today, I want to break down what I'm calling work primitive, the hidden building block that determines whether AI agent can actually help you ship real work or whether they are stuck being fancy drafting assistants forever. Here's what's happening in most companies right now. You buy an AI agent, you plug it in, and it can do a bunch of impressive stuff. It writes drafts, it summarizes meeting, it generates options and plans, and then it just stops being useful. It hits a wall, and the wall isn't the AI, the wall is your operating environment. Think about where important work actually lives in most organizations. It is behind ClickPath in business softwares, admin portals, ticketing tools, CMS screens, dashboards. It is trapped in hidden states you don't see until you hit them. And honestly, a lot of it is just tribal knowledge. Ask Sarah, finance owns that. We don't touch that system. Any agent cannot reliably operate inside that environment. It can't advise well, it can't draft accuracy, and most importantly, it can't actually ship work with you, so you can't accelerate. But here's what Lee noticed. Before they added the CMS, updating the website was that simple. You just tag Cursor in the code and say, change this marketing copy. Done. After the CMS, suddenly everything was back to clicking through UI menus instead of delegating to agents. So Lee sat down, created a migration plan with Claude, and over a single weekend, migrated the entire Cursor.com website from the CMS back to raw codes and Markdown. 3 days, $260 in tokens, hundreds of agent requests. And the headline isn't AI agents can code fast. The headline is the CMS, the tool they added to make things easier, had actually become a wall between the agents and the work. And here's the kicker. Lee himself estimated this would take weeks, maybe require hiring an agency. Even someone with an AI native company underestimated how much faster things could go when you remove the abstraction layer. Lee's essay lays out something really important, the hidden tax we've been paying for years without realizing it. Think about what CMS actually introduced. Multiple identity systems. Some people are in GitHub, some are in CMS, permissions complexity, preview headaches where draft content needs a special access path, more moving parts to keep everything fast and reliable. And the costs add up. Cursor has spent over $56,000 on CMS-related expenses since September. That is a hefty markup for convenience of a graphical user interface, but here's what changed. It is now absolutely possible for non-technical people to drive technical agents directly against the workflow code itself. So why would you pay that tax on the abstraction anymore? The move Lee made collapsed all the complexity into a single inspectable place. Work moved from state hidden inside the tool to artifacts that everybody, including agents, can see, review, and undo. Now, here's the part that most people miss. Cursor's real advantage isn't just using AI agents. It is that their whole company is technical by default. Colossus did really detailed profile on Cursor's culture, and one of the things that stood out, it is not just engineers using Cursor. Their go-to-market team is surprisingly technical. They had Cursor for website updates, dashboards, internal tooling. They ship directly. They don't route everything through engineering. And at Cursor, roles are muddy by design. As their heads of design Rayolu puts it, designers, PMs, engineers, everyone just does what it takes, and AI agents tie everything together. This isn't a startup chaos. It is actually a coherent operating model. They have this pre-ship ritual called a fuzz where everyone tries to break a release. Then fixes land fast because everyone actually understands the system. The pattern we're seeing at AI native companies is that non-technical people are learning the substrate of code well enough to operate against it with agents. Not well enough to write a perfect JavaScript from scratch, that is not the point, but well enough to commit pull requests, understand how code drives workflows, and delegate to AI effectively. So what is the takeaway here? It is not delete your CMS and put marketing in GitHub. That is too literal. The real insight is about work primitive, the basic building blocks that makes work legible to both humans and agents. Things like, where's the source of truth? How do we see what changed? How do we prove it? How do we prove it work? How do we undo it? Anthropic's own engineering team published a guideline on long-running agents, and their solution isn't magical AI memory. It is disciplined artifacts. An initializer agent sets up an environment. A coding agent makes incremental progress, and clear artifacts get passed to the next session. Same work primitive story. If your organization doesn't write work down in your places agents can see and act on, you're going to stay stuck. Memory won't save you. Better models won't save you. Your work itself has to be legible. The winners of the AI era won't be the companies that have agents. They'll be the companies where enough people understand work primitives that they can spot when a tool is blocking agents, question whether they still need it, and move work into more legible forms. That's what unlocks real velocity. Good luck with your primitives.